Okay, so this will be our solution for our problem number 3 in our week 3, which is basically a practice problem. So a ball is thrown vertically upward with the speed of 15 meters per second. Determine the time of flight when it returns to its original position. So this problem is a free fall problem. Ito yung mga problem na marupok, guys. Bigla-bigla na lang nahuhulog. Kaya nga free fall, di ba? Okay. When you're talking about your free fall, so we have what are uh, characteristic of a free fall. Pag free fall tayo, we are neglecting air resistance. Ano nga ba itong air resistance natin? Yung air resistance kasi, yan yung mga pumipigil sa mga bagay-bagay pag nahuhulog ka. Okay? So, madalas, in free fall, we are using or we are in vacuum, which means there is no air resistance. And then, also, the acceleration of the free fall, or A, is equal to the acceleration of our gravity, which is basically equal to 9.81 meters per second square in SI, and also it is equal to 32.2 feet per second square in English. And another thing is your sign convention. My sign convention is that this is yung sign convention na gagamitin natin is kung ano yung comfortable tayo. Let's say I have this building S. So sabihin natin SY to kasi nasa vertical tayo di ba? So let's say I have a ball. A particle na lang, particle. So if the ball is falling downwards, which means I have my velocity equals to something x, let's say Vx, ibig sabihin, binato niya pababa. But pag free fall, ibig sabihin niyan, your Vi must be equal to 0 if you are here. Pag nasa taas ka, ibig sabihin, bibitawan mo lang. Kaya nahulog, di ba? So, free fall, pag pinitawan mo yan, your acceleration or your velocity is going down at 0, and then your acceleration is going with the flow of gravity, going with flow of gravity. So therefore, for me, this is a positive G. Okay? So later on, you will realize this situation. Kaya ang ginagamit ko lagi is, let's say, S is equal to VIT plus 1 half AT squared. This is always my formula. I'm not changing this sign positive into anything else. Kasi nga, I am sticking with the fact that there is only two kinds of acceleration, wherein your deceleration and your acceleration. But take note, in some books, they are using the Cartesian plane method. So, mapapansin nyo, ba't iba yung solution mo, sir? Take note that some books are using their Cartesian plane method, wherein going down means negative to them, and going up means positive to them. So, other things is that going to the right is positive to them, and going to the left is negative to them. So, in my experience, so kung ano yung naturo sa akin dati rin, is that I will always go with flow of my acceleration. My flow of acceleration will always be positive. Okay? So if the flow of my acceleration is going with the flow of my velocity like this one, so parehas sila, pababa silang dalawa, therefore I have a positive acceleration. So therefore, going down I have VIT plus 1 half positive acceleration ng gravity ko, so G T squared. Okay? That is our S. So take note that this is your SY. Okay? How about, sir, if the particle is thrown upward. So that is another thing. Okay. If the particle is going upward, is thrown upward, so take note that the velocity is going upward. Tama? But my acceleration is that hindi yan sasama sa velocity mo. Kasi nga gravity tayo, it will always pull you downward. So therefore, your gravity is going down. Okay? Your gravity is still going down. So therefore, how will you solve it, sir? So take note that my velocity is against my acceleration. Take note that since this is against my acceleration, yung gravity mo magiging deceleration. Bakit deceleration? Example, tumalon ka. At a certain point, ang pagtalon mo, di ba? Pataas is mararamdaman mo bababa ka na. Let's say na slow motion yung pagtalon mo. Nagka-slow motion yung pagtalon mo, ay tumalon ako. Bumababa ako. This is because of the acceleration of gravity. At a certain time, ma-reach mo yung maximum mo. So, pag na-reach mo yung maximum mo, babagsak ka na. It means na, kasi pag nag-upward acceleration ka, ma-reach mo yung maximum height mo, is that it is because you have a deceleration. Pag talon mo, hinihila ka ng gravity, nagkakaroon ka ng deceleration, which is equal to negative ag. So, if my motion is going, next statute na lalagay ko dito is that if my velocity is against my gravity, against the acceleration of gravity, therefore, I will have negative of gravity, therefore, we will have deceleration. Pag nagkaroon ng deceleration, we will have negative g, or it is negative 9.81 meters per second squared, or 32.2. Negative 32.2 feet per second squared. So, yun lang yung isipin natin, no? If against the gravity, the velocity is against the gravity, negative acceleration. If my velocity is with the gravity or with my acceleration, it is positive, a positive acceleration of gravity. So, therefore, we will have Sy is equal to VIT less 1/2 GT squared. Okay, sir, paano mo naman malalaman na pag nag-throw ka ng ball, yung maximum S mo? Di ba nga, pag nagbato ka ng kahit object, sabihin natin straight line yan, bababa at bababa siya. Due to the fact that it is decelerating at an acceleration of a gravity, and then at that moment ng pagbaba niya, it will accelerate with the gravity. But what will be our S max? Balik kayo sa calculus nyo. We all know that Sy is equal to VIT plus 1/2 AT squared. Paano ba kukunin yung S max mo? Siyempre kunin mo yung T max mo. Solve for T max. Paano mo solve yung T max, sir? Very easy, right? By calculus. We all know that dsy over dt is equal to the maximum height na pwedeng tahakin ng object mo if you would throw the object or the particle upward. Maximum height yan. Okay. So therefore, setting yung instant your ds over dt equals 0. Okay. This is the step in solving for the maximum displacement, vertical displacement, and your maximum time of flight going up. Okay? So, maximum height is 0. So, setting this ds over dt equals 0. So, mapapansin mo, in this equation, you are validating that your VF at free fall is equal to 0 when you are throwing the ball upward. Okay? So, therefore, VF is always equal to 0 at max height. This is our first assumption. VF is always 0 at our max height. Okay? So, differentiating this equation, so we'll have dsy over dt is equal to vi, the derivative of t is 1, tama? Plus 1 half at squared. So, the derivative of t squared is just equal to 2t. 2t max multiplied by our acceleration due to gravity. So, take note that our acceleration to gravity is going down. Okay? It is going down. So, therefore, we have a deceleration. Nagne-negative yan kasi going down yung acceleration natin, yung motion natin pataas. So, it is against our motion. Okay? So, therefore, setting this dsy to 0, so we have 0 equals vi plus, cancelling out your 2, we have t max multiplied by our ag. So, we will have a value of your t max is equal to multiplied by ag, which is equal to our vi, negative vi. So, nag-0 yung dsy This is a condition of a maximum value. Okay? So, ds over dy yan, hindi yan actually s. Okay? So, take note that our ag is against our motion. So, negative yan. Negative 9.81 multiplied by t max is equal to negative vi. So, therefore, our t max is equal to negative divided by negative is positive. So, vi over 9.81. This formula can be further proved by this kinematic equation. Vf less vi equals 80. Considering that our Vf at max height is equal to 0, so therefore we have negative Vi is equal to your 80. And since your A or your G, which is equal to 9.81 meters per second squared, is against your gravity, the velocity is against the gravity, therefore this is deceleration, so therefore we have negative Vi equals negative 9.81 multiplied by T, which means that our T is equal to V1 all over 9.81. So this is the total time traveled. It is the total time or the max time to reach the max height. Okay? So paano naman pag total time traveled? So pag total time traveled hanggang sa bumaba ka, so therefore, yan, the particle at T max, and then it will go down. Okay? Take note that this Vf is not equal to 0. There is always a velocity in that one. So, mag-0 lang siya dahil sa impact niya sa ground. Okay? But take note that never assume unless stated that the Vf is 0. But particularly that is not 0. Okay? Next assumption. Okay. Yan lang yung mga assumptions natin dito. Okay. Your total time of flight is just equal to T1. Your flight going out. Ito. Hanggang ma-reach mo yung max height mo. And then your T2 from max height going down. Okay? So therefore, the total time travel, total time is just equal to our T1 plus T2. But in this special kind of motion, wherein parehas lang sila, we all know that T1 is equal to T2, which means we have total time traveled is just equal to 2 T1 or 2T2. Okay? Okay. Recap, my assumption, if you are against the gravity, the velocity is against the gravity, your gravity will become a deceleration. And if your particle is with the gravity, therefore your gravity will become acceleration. Okay? So let us try to solve this problem using the concepts that I have used a while ago. Okay. Uh, More information is that lahat ng kinematic equations yun na ginamit nyo sa horizontal acceleration is applicable into your free fall problem. The only difference is that your S will be vertical. So pataas yan, ito yung S mo. O kaya para hindi ka man ito, kino-consider ko na lang siyang SY, which means S at Y direction. And then your acceleration will always be the gravity, especially if it was stated as free fall. Okay, so let us consider this first example, which is in your practice problem. So if you have solved it using the discussions in our week 3, so doon pa lang nakakakuha na kayo ng clue kung paano i-solve to. So a ball is thrown vertically upward with a speed of 15 meters per second. So determine the time the flight when it returns to its original position. Okay, so let's say I have my ball. Okay, ang pinakamagandang gawin is maglagay ka ng datum. Datum which means dito ka magbe-base ng gagawin mong diagram. Okay? So at datum, we have your height equal to 0 or your S is equal to 0. So let's say this is your particle. So H or S ang gamitin nyo, okay lang sa akin as long as you will have a correct answer and correct solution. Okay? So let's say this is my particle. The particle is going with the velocity of V I, which is equal to 15 meters per second. And take note, it is against the gravity. So therefore, yung gravity natin magiging deceleration. Against the gravity, wherein our A is equal to negative 9.81 meters per second squared. Because it is against the velocity of the motion. But if it is with the flow or with the gravity of the motion, it is always positive. Okay? So, as I have determined, if ganito mga problem, let's say we will have a maximum height. This is your S max. At a certain time, if you would reach your S max at VF is equal to 0, so take note, itong VF is equal to 0 is na-prove natin dito. Okay? The maximum height is that you would get the derivative, and take note that dsy over dt denotes your VF. Okay? From our first discussion on your kinematic equation wherein your V is equal to ds over dt. Okay? So VF is equal to 0, we have our S max and our T max or your T1. Okay? We have unknown. Ang tinatanong lang dito is the time of flight. Okay. I will use my X max later on to prove that this kind of problem, our time is just equal to 2T1 or 2T2. It is also equal to 2T2. Okay? But particularly, your VF at the second flight is not 0. So let's say, I have my VF is equal to 0, and then bababa siya ulit until it reaches the original position. Okay. So ito yung free body natin. Original position. So, bababa siya ulit. So, ang gagawin ko na lang is dash line. Yan. Yan. Ay, parang mali yun ng drawing ko, guys. Diagram lang to, Yan. Diagram lang yan, guys. Okay? So, S max is equal to T1. So, bababa siya. In-exaggerate ko siya ng konti para makita nyo na bababa talaga siya. So, it is against the gravity. So, therefore, let's have our equation, which is basically equal to S is equal to VIT plus GT squared. Can we use this equation? Definitely. Pag titignan mo, wala tayong S at wala tayong T. So therefore, this equation will give us a harder time in solving the problem. So the best thing to do is our VF less VI is equal to 80. Take note that our VF is 0 and our A is equal to negative G because it is again against the velocity of the motion. So naging deceleration siya. So we have our negative VI which is particular equal to negative 15 meters per second, and our acceleration due to gravity which is equal to negative 9.81 meters per second multiplied by t squared yan okay. So therefore our t is just equal to 9.81 divided by 15 divided by 9.81. Using your calculator, we have a value equal to 1.529 seconds. Yan. Okay? That is your T. Take note that the total time travel, so T1 yan, total time travel with this kind of problems, yung ganyan lang, therefore, it is equal to 2T1. Okay this equation or this formula can be used when your problem is a symmetrical problem. Ibig sabihin ng symmetrical particles na problem is that kung saan siya nagsimula, doon din siya bababa. Paano pag meron kang isang sabihin nating bababa siya at a certain distance here? So therefore, you cannot use this formula, but you can still use this formula as a guide. Okay? Yan. Pag meron siyang certain cut share sa taas ito, so therefore you cannot use that 2T1. Okay? But I will demonstrate the rationale of this 2T1 later on. So therefore, our total time travel is equal to 2 multiplied by 1.529 is equal to 3.05 or 3.0581 seconds. So ang input na sa ultimate bagsakali is 3.6 seconds. 3.06 seconds. Okay? That is the answer. Baka dali lang, di ba? That is the total time travel. Okay, how to prove that? This is about symmetrical motion. So, kunin natin yung S-max natin. So, our S-max is this, okay? So, S-max is just equal to our VIT max multiplied by our T-max of S-max. Okay? So, yung X dito kanina, cross yan na. It's wrong kanina. So, therefore, if I would use that T-max to find the finding S-max, so finding S-max, so we'll have a value equal to S-max is equal to our VIT, which is 15 meters per second multiplied by a certain time t, which is equal to 1.529 seconds less. Less Bakit less? Kasi nga against the flow of gravity. Less 9.81 meters per second squared multiplied by, so ayusin ko na lang konti. Okay? Pangit yung pagkakasulat. Okay. So S-max is equal to VIT, which is 15 meters per second multiplied by 1.529 seconds. 1.529 seconds less 9.81 meters per second squared, so multiplied by 1.529 seconds squared. So our S-max is probably equal to, so minsan i-store niya, naturuan ko na kayo mag-store so 15 times 1.529 less 9.81 times 1.529 squared. So we'll have a value equal to S max is equal to is equal to 11.467 meters. This is our S max. Okay, so this will be our S max. Okay, may hindi tayo nasulat dito, no? Which is basically your 1/2. Okay, so ito yung equation na gagamitin natin, no? Ito. So 1/2 to. May 1/2 dapat to. 1/2 GT squared from this equation. Okay, so tuloy natin. So 11.467 meters. This is our maximum height. So take that our T1 will be 1.529 seconds. So upon this one, so pag na-reach yung S max natin na 11.467889, this one, so bababa na to. So going down. Okay? So can I assume that my VF here is 0? No, never assume. But you can state that your VF will be equal to your VI at second time interval. So solving for V2, so we will have a value equal to solving for our T2. So your VI later on, VI2 is equal to your VF1. Okay? Which is basically equal to your 0. Kasi nga mag-free fall na siya. And then your acceleration of your gravity will be, this will be the acceleration of your gravity, tama? And your velocity is also going down. So mapapansin nyo, yung velocity nyo is going down, no? Which is your VI or your VF1. So VI2 yan, which is your VF1 ito, which is equal to 0 kasi mag-free fall yan. So therefore, your gravity and your velocity is going with each other. So sabay sila, okay? So kapit kamay silang dalawa, so sabay silang tatalon yung gravity at yung velocity natin, kaya naging positive acceleration tayo. So you'll have a value equal to positive 9.81 meters per second square. So what will be the formula to be used? So anong maganda? So kunin natin yung formula natin. So VF less VI is equal to 80. Pwede ba to? Technically wrong. Bakit? Never assume that your VF is 0. Wala kang makukuha, di ba? Kasi nga wala kang VF dyan. Ito yung tinatanong nating VF2. So your VF2 will be 0. And then your VI, which is basically equal your VF1 is 0. So wala kang makukuha ang sagot. So the best thing to do is this one. S is equal to VIT plus 1/2 ET squared. So since you all know that your VI is already equal to your VF1, so this is your VI2 is equal to your VF1, so therefore mapapansin mo that this is just equal to 0. And our S will be our S max kasi nga bumaba siya from our S max, so we'll have a value equal to 11.46788991, which is equal to 1/2. Take note that it is going with the flow of your gravity, of your velocity. So positive acceleration tayo. So 9.81 multiplied by t squared. Okay? So what will be our answer? Divided by 1/2 times 9.81. Your t square will be equal to, take note that this t squared here, your t here will be your t2. This is at second interval. Solving for t2, ito yung sinosolve natin. Yung time interval na pagbagsak niya, t2. So, ilang oras siya babagsak dito sa original position. So, you will have a value equal to t2, which is 2.33799 meter square, second square. So, getting the square root of both sides, so we'll have a value of your t is equal to, mag-erase ko 1/2 ka lang dyan, 1.529 1.529 seconds. This is your t2, which is basically equal to your t1 or the t at max height. So therefore, the total time travel is the time he traveled going up, pataas hanggang sa pababa. That is the total time of flight until it returns to its original position. So therefore, our t total is equal to t1 plus t2. Take note, parehas sila. So we have 1.5291 plus 1.5292, which is basically equal to 3.058 or 3.06 seconds. Okay? That is the proof that in a symmetrical motion, pag symmetrical yan, ibig sabihin, babalik din siya sa datum mo, you can use this formula, 2t1. T total is equal to 2t1. But, if the motion is not symmetrical, ibig sabihin, hindi siya babalik sa datum mo, be careful in using this one. But you may still implement it in solving the situation. Okay? So, diskarte nyo na lang ang magpapairal dyan. Okay? This will be our solution for problem number 3 in your practice problem.